Vroom, vroom. Right, it would seem that there's a lot of old boys all over the world, Australia, and everywhere. You know, there's a few old boys that I inspire because they've got old like me, and they're probably fed up, you know. So they look at me and think, knocking around with Susie and everything, I'm having a wonderful time. Well, of course I am having a wonderful time, but I can tell you, very often I have to chisel myself out of bed because I'd much rather lay there and listen to the wireless and get up at 10 o'clock. But I get up at 7 o'clock. So there we are. So that's that. Anyway, so this really is a bit of a load of nonsense in a way, because I did a bit of filing, and then I decided, you know, probably think that Steven Spielberg has joined this team, but he isn't. I decided that when they all went home, I'd make a video. So you can see it's perfection, really, but it was much better when I learned which way around to turn the camera, but that's another story. But anyway, so now we're doing a bit of filing, because I did the rear engine plate on the Offy, and I cut the shape with the Abra file. Incidentally, we looked it up on the blooming internet. You can't buy Abra files anymore, so that's good, isn't it, really? I'm demonstrating how to use it, and you can't get one, but anyway. So I filed it up, lovely, and then the next day, I told Susie what I'd done, and obviously she was yawning and usual sort of stuff, but I said, no, they'll love it. So then we went down to see Timothy, and this axle was laying on the floor. In fact, there's two laying on the floor. And I said, right, we'll get that, and we'll hold it in the vice, and I talked her into it, and I did that bit of filing. But Timothy supplied me with a file. I'll tell you what, I reckon it must be one that Darren used 100 years ago, because it was totally worn out. But anyway, old Mervyn Stratford came round the other day, and he said, oh, you put files, and I couldn't remember what it was. But anyway, Susie's looked it up, and apparently you can put them in vinegar. So anyway, we might give that a test and see how it goes. But anyway, so that's that. So anyway, comment. You know, if it's desperate, say, well, don't do that again, or whatever. But made a bit of a thing about finding it. And to be honest, we had a bit of a clear-up, because the sun come up, John jumped on the old tractor, which we've had for donkey's years, which we rebuilt, and pressed the start. I couldn't believe it. In fact, it frightened me almost. I pressed the easy start button and he pressed the thing and it went. But anyway, so that was done, and then he's had to go around with that to cut the grass down. And then we got the digger going, and that started up just as good, and he's had a bit of a clear up round the shed, because when the weeds come out from round the shed, it's not a good thing, so we cleared some of that away. So you'll see all that. And because John is Susie's hero, so he always gets the best mention, but anyway, I'm not jealous. You imagine I'm 84 years old, and I'm still filing the front axle and what have you. I'm wondering whether it could be good for a lot of people that have got all sorts of problems. I can imagine in Harley Street, we could have this bench, and the Harley Street doctor, psychiatrist, brings them down and says, look, we've got to file this axle up. Next thing you know, they'll be filing away and they'll be feeling wonderful. What do you think?
I think that's right. Mindfulness.
Mindfulness, look. I mean, you can't beat it, can you? Look what you can see. It's all going on there.
This is turning into a shed therapy video.
Yeah, why not? I haven't eaten all the proper food all my life. I mean, I don't eat silly food, and more so now. Since I met Susie, she makes me eat greens. So perhaps that's why I've got a bit of strength, is it? I don't know. But what I'm saying is, I think the secret to long life, it looked like there was a giant.
I could just get that out the window.
A giant at the window. I thought, what's going on?
It's the digger.
Years ago, I went to the Abbey Hotel. I was only a kid, and I had Master 7. I was going to modify it. And I saw a really old set of ports that had been modified before the war, and they'd been done entirely with a file. There was no rotary file. It was all filed. And I decided to do it, just to see how I got on, and I filed the whole thing, even round the, got in there with a bent round file, because a bent round file is a very useful thing. In fact, we'll have a look, see if I've got one. You can't believe where you can get into places. Typical. I know I've got one. There you are. That's a bent round file. All you do, warm it up and bend it. But because I've got the camera around the wrong way. So there you are, a bent round file. I just get an ordinary round file like that. Well, not like that one. Let's say like that one. And we just warm it up there and bend it round. And you'd be amazed the corners you can get in with that. And I did the ports on this Austin 7, and they look really good. I don't know whatever happened to it, I can't remember. Somebody's probably looking at it now and saying, oh yes, this was done before the war. Well, it wasn't, it was done on my mum's kitchen table, really. If you've got your mind on it and you can do it, it's good. It ain't a big job and it ain't that important, but everybody's gone home and it's nice and quiet, and this is what I love to do. Unfortunately, that's what I've loved to do all my life. One of the reasons I never did any good at school was because I wasn't very good at it, and I always had something like this that I could do to also use your brain. I wish my dad had been a musician, not a musician, yeah, a musician. If he'd have been a musician, I probably would have finished up like Nick Mason, like having a band and earning a fortune. But anyway, I haven't done that really, and I am not complaining for 1 second, because I've had a lovely life. First time I ever used one of these was with my dad. Well, obviously that's easy, and cut that off and file that around there. But getting that bit out is not so easy. And I've got this special hacksaw blade, it's called an abrophile, and it fits into a normal hacksaw, and it means that you can file around corners. So I'll try and set the thing up so you can see it. Right, here we go. And there you can see how you can just go around corners. I thought I was just going to break that off easily, but it's not that easy, so we'll file it a little bit more. Hacksawing round corners. There you are, and all I've got to do now is file that up. And when I file it up, I'll use a millicut file, which is what that is. But I think that might be a bit of a difficult radius. Oh, I don't know, I think that would be alright. Because I love filing. Again, a millicut file. A bit far out of ice really. I'll give it a try. And there you are. We've got a shape. It doesn't have to be particularly accurate, it's just got to look tidy really. So that's it. I'll now clean it up. I'll get some ebony cloth and one thing and another. I'll take a little bit more off just there, but you know, it's not doing too bad. And I could take that over to the sander and just go round it. But you know, it's quite nice doing metalwork. I like metalwork. So I'll give that a bit more of a file. Blend that in a bit. But anyway, we're going to now tidy that up. And here we go. I used to love filing the hollow axles on the Bugattis by hand. Get a really big round file and, oh, I'll tell you what, I'm confident that that's how they did it originally. And if you do it like that, they definitely have the look. If you do each little bit, you know, getting a nice radius and getting the marks out. And obviously, doing it with a file, you take the minimum off. And, you know, it always looks just that little bit special. And old Bugatti was obviously a great believer in it, because I think he used to employ a line of people filing. Because if you look at anything on a Bugatti, it looks like it's had some hand work on it. In fact, it gives away the replica bits from the original bits, because they've always got that lovely sort of look, you know. I think the inlet manifold on the Type 57 used to take a bloke 2 days to do. And I'm not surprised. It's nothing like filing, you know. If you've got your mind on it and you can do it, it's good. Blending that bit in there, there's just a little mark of it, don't make any difference, but that's what you can do with a file. Just take the minimum off. There's a little dent there. But, you know, if you want to make something look really beautiful, like if you say a front axle, say, you do it with a file, it's a miracle. And it's good fun. I love doing it. I mean, when you're an apprentice, you know, when I was an apprentice pattern maker, we had quite a lot of aluminium patterns, and very often you were filing it and blending it in and making it look nice. And I suppose what it does, it stays with you, really. No, that looks lovely. See, that's been finished for the sander, which is quite good enough, really. But I mean, if you were trying to make it look really beautiful, you do it with a file. And it always looks like just that little bit cleverer. Probably when you know what you're looking at. A lot of people probably won't notice any difference, but, you know, if you get a front axle so absolutely square and beautiful, And after you've done it, it's a good feeling. They right, look, I haven't stuck exactly to the line, but you know, that's a good shake. When it's resting down, you want that strength up there. We can't have too much there because the little bit that goes on there will just fit there. I mean, we hadn't even used the car, look, and it's got marks on it. But that looks tidy. So the next one to do is that one. So I'll round that with the hammer file, and then I'll file that off, and it'll look like that.
So are we doing a demonstration on this front axle?
Yeah. Right. Well, I made that video the other night. It's the first time I've ever made a video, much to the amusement of, who's that woman who works? Susie.
I sometimes come here.
Yeah, she has a lot of time off though, going swimming and things, but anyway, I won't go into that. But anyway, so I mentioned the front axle and how much better you could do it with a file. And as it happens, old Tim's got to finish 2 front axles. I ain't going to do them, I might add. But I thought, as soon as they were laying on the floor, I would get a file and give you a demonstration about how much better you can do it. You know, you take an angle grinder on that, it never looked right. And you look at the front axles that people have done, and they never look right very often. And I'm convinced that when they did them at the factory, they did them like I'm going to show you. And, you know, they just look fabulous when you... And I had a young bloke come. When we first bought the farm, we had the builders in, local boys, like, you know, and they concreting the floor, because it was only a cow shed. But anyway, they did it. And there was a young bloke called Darren. He really was a country boy. And when it was all finished, he didn't want to go. He said, oh, I don't want to go. And well, actually, he wouldn't go. So in the end, I had to give him a job. Anyway, we give old Darren a job. And I said to him, well, I better file up front axles. And I showed him how to do it. And in the end, he was so good at it. And I thought, well, that's a bit like old Bugatti, really. He probably was employing country boys. Showed him how to do it. And I said to Darren about something, he was filing away, and I said something to him, and he went, you can see the shadow, look. He said, if you look, you can see the shadow. He was telling me, in the end, how to do it. You know, as you file it, you can see the shadow. Now, you can see, what happens is, when this was forged, you can see, look, where it's been closed back up, because there's a hole in the middle of there, right the way through, and at the front there, it's squeezed down. Now this is going to have to be bent, like they're bent, and then that will come up square. But anyway, to be honest, they're beautifully forged, and there's not a lot of, you know, they're better than, when I did them, they was the first ones. Now they're perfected, you know, this all turns out to be much nicer than when I did them. But they still need cleaning up, you see. Now look, if you look, that has been machined. When this was a straight forging and we had this lump on here, if you look on the video, you'll see it all. But anyway, so that would have been a centre, and that would have been a centre, and then that has been machined on the lathe. So, you know, all you're going to do with that is get rid of the machining marks. But again, you know, but then you see, you've got to get down here, and it's getting a bit Humpty-Bumpty. Now, look, see where it matches there?
And what type of file is that one?
Oh, it's just a file. I'm not really up on what they called it. There's bastard files and first cut files and so many files, I can't remember them all. But this was just the first one I picked up there. But you can see that bit there. Now, you set about that with a power file or an angle grinder, you're going to have Humpty-Bumpties there, and when it's polished it won't look right. Whereas if you file that out, like this, you're taking absolute minimum off. See, look, there's a crack thing there. Look how that's coming up beautifully. See, look, we've got a dent there, look. Again, you file it, and you're taking a minimum off. and then you blend it in. And then when you get to there, you get the round file. Darren used to use the round file to do virtually everything, and he was so good at it, you can't believe it. And it's no good at getting the file and just go like that and think you've got to look what you're doing. You've got to think, well, I want to take that lump of metal off, and you've got to look at that lump of metal, and you've got to file it off. See, and then you start to blend that into there. Yeah, old Darren used to use the round file for virtually all of it. I think he used to have a new one of these about every 2 weeks, sort of thing. But you can see, like, I'm blending. I mean, I was using a flat file a minute ago. But you've got to remember, I ain't done this for 25 years. But you see, you can use the round file and blend it all in. See, now we've got a dent there.
Okay.
See, now I'm looking at that and I'm taking more. I'm not taking metal out of there. I'm watching that and I'm taking metal off of there. I'm not going anywhere near that. And then I'll get a bit off that side. Right, so if you've watched the videos, the previous one of these being pulled, you'll understand probably better what I'm talking about. But now, this has now had the hole drilled through it, and then it goes back to the forgers, and they've got another tool for doing this, which pushes this lump down to nothing, so there's a point in there, and then there's a hole, obviously, carries on. So that is where the tool comes together, and then they've got a clipping tool that just knocks that off. But you see, you've got that. Now that is a bit you can really see. Now the last thing you want there is that looking like a wavy old bit of stuff. Now I know you could get an angle grinder and just knock that off, but doing it this way, you don't take any more off. Now see that in there, look, when that all joins, there's quite a hole there and quite a hole there. Now if you're not careful with your grinder or whatever, you go down that hole, and so you have to take more metal off, blah blah blah. But if you fire it, and you fire it, and you just take the metal off where it's high, see, now I haven't touched that in there at all. I might have kissed it just there, but you know. But if you watch what you're doing, I reckon this is one of Darren's old files. This ain't sharp enough, really. Somebody was telling me about putting the file in spirits of salts or baker's fluid or something, and it
Baking
sharpens
soda.
it. No, what it does, it sharpens them, but I mean, I've never done it. But that stuff that we just bought is supposed to take the rust off. As far as I can see, puts the rust on, but it, you know. See, the only place that's sharp is up here. Yeah, Timothy, I'd have to buy some files. But as you can see, like, I'm only taking the high spots off. I haven't touched that, and I haven't touched that. And I'll get that down to that, and then there'll be a little dent there, and I'll blend it in. And then another thing, look, just there. This bit will have a hole drill, that get machined, that'll have a hole drill for it, and a radius tool will go around there, so you ain't got to worry about any of that or that. But, just there, look. Again, you probably need a smaller file. I thought I'd show you. When I was going on about the front axles, I thought I'd give you a little demonstration of what I'm talking about. Because, you know, as I say, young Darren was brilliant at it in the end. I mean, he was a strong, young kid. And he just used to stand at the bench and file and file. And then when he was finished, we used to emery cloth them. Never used to polish them up like chrome. They'd have a sort of dull emery cloth sort of finish. And they used to look fabulous. So anyway, I'll do a bit more, because Susie thinks it's boring, you see. She doesn't understand that it's not boring, it's lovely, and that you'll all be quite pleased to see it more than she could imagine. So I'm talking her into this very carefully. So you better watch it, because you'll be able to say, well, anyway, I told you, they won't watch that, that's boring. So if you all watch it, I could say, well, that's not what happened, Susie. I mean, you could get good at this. I could show you how to do this, you know. You're a big, strong girl, you'd be able to do this standing on your head. See, look, that lump there, look, I'm not touching any of that. With a file, what it boils down to, with a file, you don't make it worse. That hole there, I'm going to file the good stuff down to that hole, but I'm not going to keep filing the good stuff down to a hole that I keep making bigger. Because you can go at the file beautifully, you know. See, look, I'm not touching that. There's a deep crevice there. Well, I must say, using the big round file was a revelation. Because you can go using all different files. It takes you half an hour, just keep putting the files in. But a round file, you can do it all. Make that big lump up. There's a shadow, there's a line there. And when you're filing, you can see that line. Now you see there's a hole there, so what I've got to do, I've got to take that bit down, and I've got to take that bit down, and you can see the shadow going along there, and it goes like that. So, you know, as you're filing, look, the shadow's along there, look, and along there where I'm standing. And there's a slight bumps there, but that will go. See, look, I'm going to concentrate on that little bit there, because that's a little bit high. That's high, obviously. And then, of course, you've got this bit in here that you can really get to work on that. There's a little bump just there. Look, you can see the line sort of goes off there.
Yeah.
But whatever way you like to look at it, that's a way to do it with a minimal amount of metal being taken away. And that bit there is when they put the brakes on and when that twist. If you look at most original axles, they've either been straightened or they've been welded, and that is why I did it originally, because I just thought, you know, I don't fancy doing 130 miles an hour, saying it's donkey's years old and I don't know what's happened to it. And, you know, they've never given a moment's trouble. Right, well, we need a new one of them. And I don't know whether they measure it there. Oh, it's a foot, look, more or less. So that's it. But if it's overall length, it'll be like, oh, I don't know, about 17 or 18 inches. So we'll get on the...
Let's go and look on the internet now. What sort of pattern's that called?
What's ain't written, you see? See it?
Oh, yeah, I can see it.
In my sequence of speed that I was looking at the other day, Mr. Ford, it said Mr. Ford advising the young people, and he was talking about businesses going out of business. And he said, in my experience, businesses go out of business because they're all untidy and they're in a mess and what have you. And someone takes the firm over, tidies up, gets a good system, and they're back in business. I think being tidy is one of the most important things.
Tractor start first time?
Yeah, absolutely. Stood there all that time.
How long have you had the tractor?
Oh, 30 years. I bought it off the rag and bone man.
Yeah?
The engine was wrong, and the liners had dropped, and we machined a bit off the bottom of the liners, and we made a thick spacer. And the man in the farm shop said, oh, that won't work. And here it is 30 years later, still working. In the village, one of the boys in the village wanted to go to the steam rally. So I said, well, if you take it all to bits, you know, all the bodywork there, I said, we'll blast it and paint it. So we painted it. That's why it looks in fairly good condition. Because we painted it with, you know, 2-pack or something 30 years ago. And the kid, he used to drive down. I used to say, now, whatever happens, it's not my tractor.
Your old trailer here.
That is a Mercedes van that we took the flywheel off to put on the horns.
This is a Mercedes van. Oh wow.
If you want to the scrap man, come and get it, but he hasn't got it, but he will do eventually.
And this is the trailer here.
That trailer on the Alf Smith side, you know.
And for security you have a tree in it.
Yeah, it's full of stuff.
Is it?
Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to press that button. And, you ain't going to believe it, we're having mugs made. The mug is making mugs. So we'll see what happens.